Walker Tea Review. You know, I hate to bring this up, but and I try to avoid it, thinking about it too much myself, but the holiday season is coming up. There's probably somebody that you know, maybe yourself included, who either is a tea drinker and wants to get more teas, and you're just not sure what to pick. Or perhaps there's a coffee drinker or someone else who's saying, you know, I need to get away from sugary sodas, get away from coffees, get something more healthy, healthier, like tea. And you're left thinking, well, what do I get a person like that? So, Walker Tea Review is going to present teas. You've got a selection of prior reviews to look through as well. And if you just wanted to kind of try out a tea, you could actually go ahead, look at my future episode schedule, get a sample of a tea. A lot of companies provide a small sample for a very moderate price, or it can be tossed in with another order, and then you're able to sample that tea and prepare it as you see it prepared here. And so that's kind of a shared taste experience that we can do together. So today we have a tea from the UK. I don't do a lot of teas outside of the country of origin and or tea companies in the U.S., but Canton Tea Company, they've got a tea. They've got fairly prompt shipping processes. Teas that I've gotten from them take, I want to say, 6 days or less, and business days, of course, and reasonable prices as well. So what we're going to be looking at is an oolong, and of course there are different kinds of oolong. Oolong. Someone asked me recently, is oolong a brand? And I said no. Oolong is generally a processing style. So we've got our tea here. We're going to fill it up. This is about a 4-ounce gaiwan, and I'm putting in enough to cover the bottom of the bowl there. What I'm going to do next is add my water, and it's been brought to a boil, and it's been cooling for 2 or 3 minutes, but it's still going to be plenty warm enough to bring out enough character of this tea. And also, to help do that, we're going to cover it, and we're going to make sure there's enough water to rise above the rim of the lid, kind of seal in a lot of air, so the air doesn't get in, doesn't oxidize, change the color of the liquor, doesn't affect any kind of aromas building up in there. So that's good. Gently move that over. Still got a nice rim, a seal of water around the edge. And now I can kind of introduce this tea a little more carefully. As I was saying, from Canton Tea Company in the UK, this is their aged SongZhongDanCong. Now, dancong is a type of oolong from the southern part of kind of southeast part, not that far from Guangzhou or Canton. But Chaozhou is the city or the area that most of those come from. Dancong, there's some, depending on how the words are used, I should say, they can mean single tree and or single grove. And what happens is there may be one tree and daughter plants are taken from that, so that you've got a grove of that same genetic material producing trees, producing bushes. Information on Canton's tea site says that some of the trees used where this tea is harvested from, these trees can be 150 to 200 years old, and that this, as it says, has been aged. This was actually harvested in spring of 2000, and so it's been aged about 10 years. Some of these kind of teas can get aged longer to be categorized as medicinal teas in the Chinese traditional Chinese medicine category. Okay, I should mention here, 10 grams, a sample size, $11.12. The 12 cents, that comes in with exchange rate issues on the British pound. They are currently sold out of some of the other sizes. So this one has actually apparently either they had low volume and or they had good sales. There's a very larger volume, like over 100 grams. I want to say it's 250, but you want to check to see the status of that. There's still some available at that volume, but that can get quite steep, and they still have some sample sizes left. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this dry leaf. I'm gonna have to kind of breathe in here and get heat this up a little bit. Because you do get this kind of sweet, slightly tart. It's like a nice peach type of note coming off of this. It gets fruity, a little bit of a baked peach type. Not a lot of roasted component coming off of this. The other thing you're going to note is that these leaves here, these are some of the thinner, more tightly wound dancong leaves that I've seen. Not all of them are quite so wiry as this. A lot of them just kind of get crumpled. And these are a rich, it's actually a very vibrant kind of red-brown. The red, it's a deep, rich, almost, kind of crimson brown type colors. So these look like nice colors on these leaves. They look, they appear to have some brightness, some sheen, which suggests that the oils in this tea have been protected well. So meaning oils, aromatic compounds, meaning you're going to have good character, flavor in this kind of tea. So we should have had enough, that should be enough time now really, to get into our liquor here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to move this over and tilt my lid over to the side. Yeah, this tea I'm especially noticing the top of this liquor, as you look down into the bowl, it looks very thin, but down in the bottom around the leaves you can tell it's darker there. So if you're trying to split that, serve that among more than one cup, one cup is going to be thinner, duller in taste than the other. To remedy that, you serve or pour into a pitcher like this first, so it becomes distributed and even, and then you can pour that out. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for now because we do want to talk a little bit about the wet leaf here. And kind of get a good few smells here. Oh, this has got a rich, nice, kind of a peachy apricot combination there. Okay, some people are going to say honey. That's the kind of traditional answer there, but this is coming off to me as peach and apricot. There's just a little something kind of zesty, tangy in there. And this is one of the more pronounced. Yet, nothing yet indicates that it's artificial. My first reaction is that this is not an artificial or infused note in this leaf. The leaves themselves, you're seeing, I didn't really note the length in the, I'm talking about the dry leaf, but you can tell these is probably like 2 inches or so, and or longer, depending on the leaf you have to grab. But what I'm noticing here is, in that steeping, most of these leaves have not unfurled. Most of them are still wrapped somewhat, if not, they're not as tight as they were for that initial. But so indicating that there's more to be released there, there's more flavor, there's more character wrapped up in there, encased in there, and that subsequent steepings are going to have good amounts of flavor and aroma. I'm trying to kind of gently work one leaf apart, and I'm noticing these leaves, they're much redder along the edge, indicating there was oxidation that took place there, and that they are lighter towards the middle, and a lot of teas, if they're going to be aged like that, they are going to be roasted or heated, toasted more than once through that time. As you let a tea sit and age, they will often reabsorb some moisture and other, so that to get those oil concentrations back to where they were supposed to be, you may have to re-roast. I cannot comment definitively, but these look like they have gone through some roasting. These leaves are fairly don't have a lot of resilience. I'm pulling at the leaves there, and they're coming apart fairly easily. So roasting has protected these, or at least that's my impression here. Let's go ahead and talk about the liquor rather, and see if we can get some clues there as well. So our liquor, a nice amber orange, close to a honey type of color there. So that's a nice color. Clear as well, and still nice, rich, kind of artificial peach and apricot. Very nice though. And let's give it a pour here and give it a taste as well. Two things that really hit me with this tea. First was that intensity of flavor and aroma was consistent through the wet leaf and the smell of the liquor, and now in the taste. It's just a nice kind of a tart, zesty, citrusy apricot with peach there together. This tastes natural. This tastes, I would say this, but on the other hand, this is one of the most intense components or combinations of those aromas and tastes that I've come across in a dancong in a while. What else? Combined with that, the other thing that hit me was the character, the body, I should say, the texture. It was just smooth. It wasn't harshly astringent. It was just a sheet of silk that just got laid across my tongue. So it felt, you felt a texture there. It felt a little bit, at first it was taking a little bit of moisture out of my tongue, but it was just nice and smooth as well. Okay. The aftertaste, I'd say, the texture drops off in the aftertaste. It gets a little bit of kind of a minerally, watery type feel, especially around the back and under portion of the tongue, right there in the corner of your jaw. The aftertaste is not hanging on like some other classic Chinese teas. How does it compare to other dancongs? I'm still thinking, my impression is this one's not offering as much and as intense of an aftertaste as some others that I've tasted, but still somewhat close. Still some taste coming out, still a little bit of as I kind of swish around, my saliva still has a little bit of a fruity taste to it, as if I just swallowed a piece of peach. So, looking at this tea as a whole, I'm going to give this tea a 91. There are lots of, that aroma and that flavor just really stands out. That texture stays in balance with it as well. The aftertaste is it's okay. It's not the most intense, but overall I got a good showing. And considering these leaves, going to have looks like has the potential for good subsequent steepings as well. That's a positive aspect as well. So come back. I hope you found a tea that you feel is worth exploring. If you ever found other teas that you found are worth exploring, come back and tell me about those so that I can get a chance to review those and share those with others here at Walker Tea Review.